Hi there. Today is March 27th, 2023, and we're just going to be going over my current health status and what's going on in my life right now. So let's get started. Welcome to Fuzzee Road to Health. I'm Fuzzee D. So as of today, I've been carnivore for 10 weeks now. My current weight is 355 pounds. My weight loss since starting carnivore is 36 pounds. I actually gained a few pounds. We'll get into that in a minute. My total weight loss from my heaviest back in about 2017, somewhere in there, 2016. I've lost a total of 185 pounds, and all of my autoimmune disease symptoms, of which I've got 5 major autoimmune diseases and a couple of minor ones, and a few other little health things that were going on, and virtually all those symptoms have completely gone away as long as I don't eat something I shouldn't. I think I mentioned on one of my previous videos that I'm now completely off of all medications, no vitamins. The only supplements I take is electrolytes. I personally use the Keto Chow Electrolyte drops for carnivores. And I know there are some other different Keto Chow products out there that people find really unpalatable. And there's been a little confusion when I've been talking to people about it. So I'll pop up a picture of exactly which one that I use, and I'll put a link down in the description. It's not an affiliate link or anything, it's just like an Amazon link. And normally I'm only using 1 milliliter in a day, unless I'm doing heavier activity or exercise or anything like that. Then I'll take 2 milliliters for the day. And I was still being a little tired because I've got some problems with my thyroid. I had been using 1 drop of iodine a day, and I was still having some tiredness, so I actually upped that to 2 drops a day, and now I'm not getting that tiredness anymore. So it's just been a few days since I switched over to the 2 drops a day, but so far so good. So I also wanted to mention that I've got a Facebook group, and it's called Fuzzee Road to Health, strangely enough, eh? So if you just do a search in Facebook for Fuzzee Road to Health, you'll find it there. You'll see I use the same logo there as I use on this YouTube channel. The path for that, like, the facebook.com/ it's not Fuzzee Road to Health, because it used to be called Integrated Healing Alliance. So the path, you can't just put in the path and expect to get there. It's just easier to do the search, and you'll find it no problem. What have I been up to the last couple of weeks since I did my last vlog? Well, I've been, of course, busy with some other YouTube channels. I've been also posting a lot of my bacon cure. So the bacon cure is complete, but there's some experimenting going on after the fact. When we tried the bacon right out of the salt cure, it was too salty even for me, and my wife couldn't tolerate it at all. So I started doing some experiments with soaking the bacon in water for different amounts of time based on the saltiness level that was still existing at 6 hours, which was fine for me, but my wife still didn't like it. So I took the rest of the bacon and did some rough calculations, and we came up with, well, let's soak it all for 10 hours to pull back that salt level. And to me, it actually made a fair difference going that extra 4 hours on top of our previous experiments. But my wife she didn't find any difference in the saltiness. So I'm not sure if that's because she's got a mindset against salt and so it just isn't recognizing the difference, or if her taste buds just really can't tell. I know that when I was on carnivore for about 4 or 5 weeks, I noticed that my taste was becoming much more sensitive than it used to be. So I suspect that there's a lot of issues in there with the food that I used to eat before carnivore that can lower your sensitivity for taste. That said, we're going to try another experiment. Since there was no difference to her in the taste between 6 hour and 10 hour, we're going to try where when we go to actually cook it, we'll slice it up, and then the slices that she's going to eat, she'll soak in water for a little bit to pull some of that salt out. And we'll be doing some experiments with that in upcoming videos showing how much time she actually needs it. So we've got, like 6 or 7 slabs of bacon we need to use up, and we probably won't be buying another pig to butcher until next year. Probably the next time that I do a cure. This salt cure was really easy to do, but if I have to wind up soaking it for hours and hours and hours afterwards to pull the salt level back down, then to me that's just too much work. If I got to soak it anyway, I might as well just do a liquid brine cure from the beginning where I can control the exact amount of salt that goes into it. So then I can do what's called an equilibrium type of cure. So you weigh the bacon, and then you put in a specific amount of salt by weight in percentage. So I believe a good level that seems to work for most people is 2%. So that's probably what's going to happen next time. I don't think I'll use this type of salt cure for bacon again, because it's a lot of work, and then you add the extra soaking afterwards, and it just becomes more work than if you just did a liquid brine to begin with. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, but all of the stuff will be posted. I posted the entire curing process, and it's split up into groups. Some of the videos, there's 2 or 3 or 4 days included in there. So one of the other things I've been doing is experimenting with different recipes, and I had seen some recipes for doing a carnivore mayonnaise. So I tried my hand at making some mayonnaise, and just before I was actually going to make a batch, I ran into some other information that actually came in really clutch. It turns out that when you're making your own mayonnaise, whether you're making it out of traditional oil or whether you're making it like I did with melted butter, it's only going to last in the fridge a few days unless you ferment it. So what I used in particular in my case was a raw unpasteurized kefir, which has live bacteria in it, and it's the same bacteria that they use to make yogurt, which is why it actually tastes a lot like yogurt. I really love the taste of it. My wife hates it. But you can also use the unpasteurized whey from making yogurt. So if you can get your hands on that, you can use that instead. And what you do is you make the mayonnaise according to whatever recipe you're following, and then you add, right at the end, you add some of the kefir or the whey bacteria, and then you leave it sit on the counter for anywhere from 5 to 8 hours. You can actually go as long as 12 hours if you want it to really have a tang, because what it does is it alters the taste a little bit. It adds a bit of a tang to it. So when I first made the mayonnaise, it tasted very much like a really, really good version of Hellmann's, which I absolutely loved. My wife, not so much. She's like a Miracle Whip person. I like Miracle Whip a lot myself, but I really like just a really good traditional mayonnaise. However, once it finished its fermenting, I did like a 6-hour fermentation, and then it changed the flavor a little bit, but as it sat in the fridge and got chilled and nice and really thick, it got about the consistency of cream cheese and tasted a lot like cream cheese. I could give you the recipe here, but it's better if I actually show you how to make it. I did post the recipe that I used on my Facebook group, the Fuzzee Road to Health. But I'm going to be doing a proper video when I make the next batch. I'm going to be doing a little bit of an adjustment to the recipe that's on the Facebook group. The other thing I should talk about the fermented mayo is that I kind of did a bad thing. It was really, really super tasty, and I started using it on everything. And because it's just, basically butter and eggs and some spices and the kefir, I kind of viewed it very similar to people using butter bites or whatever. Once I became fat adapted, I stopped eating butter as a means to maintain ketosis when I would feel it drop off, because it just my body wasn't working the same way anymore. And so when I kept using the butter, then I stopped losing weight. So when I started eating all this butter mayonnaise that I had made, I actually started putting a little weight back on, and I gained like 6 pounds. So once I finished it off, I'm going to be a little while before I make some more, and then I've just got to be much more strict about only using it as a condiment with my meal, just for a little flavor, and not trying to use it as a gravy or just eating it by the spoonful like I was doing. I was a bad boy. So I wound up putting on 6 pounds, and then I haven't eaten it for a couple of days, so now I've lost a pound again. So I was down to like 350 pounds, and then I put a little over 6 pounds back on. Now I'm back to 355. So I got to be a little more strict with myself about that. So that's just a little bit of a warning you should be aware of. So we went back this last weekend, and we finished butchering the pig. We still had the hams and the shoulders to deal with. So they had been frozen, and we had them kind of partially thawed for a couple of days out in the cold shop there. And they had a bandsaw that we were able to use this time. So we just sawed them up into small enough chunks that they'll fit in our stovetop roaster. And then we also had most of the other meat that we had cut up from the pig stored at another friend's place out there, and we went and picked up all that as well from the freezer. So I don't know if I had mentioned in my last vlog that we had gotten our tax return, which allowed us to buy the pig to begin with, and we also bought a new upright freezer, which we desperately needed to be able to bring all the meat home, which was why we hadn't at first. We just brought a little bit of fresh home to cook. But so we've got that freezer's all filled now, and we needed to use a little space from our other smaller chest freezer. And then I've now got those slabs of bacon that we're going to be freezing a good chunk of as well. Just I had some people asking me how much it cost us. So rather than tell you the exact amount that we paid for the pig and all that kind of thing, what it wound up being by the time we calculated the price of buying the pig, and then the wrapping supplies and the salt I used to cure the bacon, that kind of thing, it came out to about $1.75 a pound Canadian. We were able to buy a pig directly from a farmer. It was actually a local Hickory colony, so we got a better deal than you might normally get, because we were part of a kind of a group buy. So they bought like a total of 7 pigs, including ours. So that gave us a better deal. So these are the kinds of things that you can look for to save some serious money. Well, the thing that we've discovered after me being on carnivore for a couple of months or 10 weeks actually, and my wife kind of starting to go more towards it, she had to have her gallbladder removed a while back, so she has to transition slowly. It takes a while for the bile little creation nodules in the liver. Maybe nodules not the right word, but there's little sites in the liver that create the bile. The gallbladder just stores it. It doesn't create anything. So if you transition slowly over to more fat and meat, then those spots in the liver will increase in size and production capability. I don't know if you get more of them. I just don't remember because the research I was doing on this was a while ago. We've got some, like I mentioned, we've got some videos that are going to be coming out with the last of the tests for removing salt from the bacon to make it more edible. I've got some other stuff that I've got coming up that I'm going to be doing. I've got the first full physical that I've done in many years coming up in the first week of April. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to. My doctor is actually away right now when I made the appointment, so I'll contact him when he gets back and see if he wants to do some blood testing before I go to my appointment, or if he wants to wait till the appointment to give me a blood test paper to go get it done. We'll see what happens with that. I've got a guided Zoom exercise program that I'm going to be starting along with my wife. It's something that's done specifically through Alberta Health. So it's like an official, kind of a government sanctioned thing. And they're going to, because I've got still, issues with my back and whatnot, so I have to be careful with how I exercise. So they're going to be taking us through exercises. It's like 2 days a week for an hour and a half a day kind of a thing. And that runs for 6 weeks. And then I have been cleared to start doing some weight training by my neurologist. So after we're done that series, then I've got a gym lined up. So I'll be able to start going and working out on a regular basis. Start rebuilding some of that strength from all the muscle mass that I lost from 10 years of being bedridden. So that's going to take a while to be able to get some strength back. And once I've got enough strength back, then, and of course, as I'm continuing to lose fat, I'll be once again going to see an orthopedic specialist, one that specializes in back surgeries. And I'll be looking at getting probably the spinal fusion surgery, which is what we were looking at before, unless there's some new technique that they want to try. I don't necessarily want to lose a lot of flexibility because, the eventual plan once my back is healed is I want to get back into martial arts. If my back is not going to be, as flexible as I want, I had no intention of going back into Taekwondo. I've actually got some other martial arts that I'm more interested in. But I may look at doing boxing instead. And actually, when you look at some of the most successful martial artists, Bruce Lee being a good example, he took boxing for a fair amount of time. It's probably something I'm going to look at. There are a few boxing gyms around here, so that's probably something I'm going to look into. I'm not sure if I've got to wait till after my back surgery or not. Depends on how much of an improvement I get in my back with the weight training. I do have to be very careful because the issue with my back is I've got missing discs. So I've got, basically 3 vertebrae that are bone on bone, or 4 vertebrae, I guess. If it's 3 missing discs, that would be 4 vertebrae. And I've got the last x-rays that I had done, or CT scan, I had another disc that was bulging. So that might be more damage now too. I don't know. If it does still exist, from the research I've done, they say that carnivore can actually heal discs that are in bad shape. So we'll just kind of have to play it by ear and see what the CT scans and stuff show when I get the referral to the other doctor. And the other good thing is, even though I'm doing the intermittent fasting every day, I only eat once a day now. But, and that can help a lot to tighten your skin up as you're losing a lot of weight like I am. But there's just no way that that's going to work for all of it. I'm going to have a lot of hanging skin by the time I get down to my ideal weight. So I'll need to go and get surgery for that as well. Luckily, that type of surgery is covered, when you've done a massive weight loss like that. So I'll be able to get that paid for as well, fortunately. I do have some interviews I'm going to be doing soon. I've talked about it before. I thought they were going to be happening sooner, but life gets in the way with both myself and other people. So there were some delays in there, but I believe I'm going to be doing one in the first week or two of April, and I've got another one I might be doing sooner. We've been in contact, but that particular woman that I would be interviewing, she's really busy with a lot of stuff, so we've got to get a little coordination going there, so that may take a little time to get that interview. But these are both people that got a lot of huge health benefits from going carnivore. So if you want to see more of these videos, or you like the videos that I do on this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Appreciate you coming by, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.